Hey there, Peyton here again. I want to start with a quote this week. It says, "Be careful of the mesmerizing bias of what you think you know." We've all been there, whether you're at the gym, a salon, a bar, and you overhear two friends talking, and one is giving the other advice on the relationship that they're in, and that if it is negative, draining, abusive, what have you, then maybe for their own mental well being, that's not the relationship that they should be in at the moment, right? Time to break up, time to move on. I remember hearing a girl on a podcast one time talk about how she was struggling with her family right at that moment. And the family dynamic was not a healthy or a positive one, to say the least. They were at odds over political climate and her own personal rights and freedoms. So her mindset was the same as what her friends had advised for her relationship: time to break up, time to move on. Now, while this was family, toxic is toxic, isn't it? So one could understand maybe seeing that this was a relationship that had become negative and abusive to an extent. So why would you not treat it in the same manner and, for your own mental well-being, move on? I tell you all this because it hits close to home. As for me, I could totally relate. And I allowed myself to get caught up in this divisive and hate-filled climate that we've found ourselves in these last few years. And I let my anger and frustration and disappointment and ego get in the way. And I let it take control for a while. The mesmerizing bias of what I thought I knew. To make a long story very short, I ended up disconnecting with my family over this entire situation. Now, in this journey of mindfulness that I'm currently on, I found myself at a point where my consciousness and my heart were opening up to a newer and higher level. So all of that small, low vibrational energy and their energy sources were needing to be cleared out and transmuted in order for me to continue enlightening my spirit. It's more appropriate to say, or to at least have the concept, that once an awakening starts, it doesn't really stop. You want more. You ask or pray for more. You seek it out. And providing that you're leading with that all-encompassing love and actually doing the work, from there on out, it just becomes it becomes an experience of continued enlightening. Like many others, I have family and loved ones who support policies and people that aim to take away my own personal freedoms and who lead with hate and pander to false religious dogmas. The mesmerizing bias of what they think they know. But I'm no longer allowing those toxic and divisive elements to drag me down into matching their low vibrational behavior. Throughout my recent spiritual awakening and my goal in raising my consciousness, there's been this overwhelming feeling and calling for me to resolve differences, to apologize, to forgive, to simply lead with love so that I can get my spirit in alignment with my purpose. I've heard this said before and have began to use it as a mantra, especially with people whom I may not see eye to eye with, but it goes like this: no human being can manifest behavior that is beyond their level of consciousness. I'm going to say that again because it is so good. No human being can manifest behavior that is beyond their level of consciousness. That explains a whole lot of behavior, y'all. I mean, this understanding has allowed me to simply let go and love people where they are at any given moment. Mind you, it does not excuse bad behavior, but it does allow me to see the divine light at the core of that person more clearly, even when their dogmatic indoctrination or fear or ignorance has taken control of their consciousness. I can then allow for more grace and love to lead and get my ego out of the way. It's been very liberating. I know that as a human, it's hard to imagine loving those who'd sooner cause us harm than to reach out a helping hand. But I believe that one of the goals in this life is to be able to do just that, to love others. If the reflection that I give off is that of love, despite the circumstances, it becomes more and more difficult for me to be labeled as anything less. And by giving out that energy, I know that I'm getting it reflected back to me. Yet, the opposite is just as true. And if I were to meet judgment with judgment, then I'd end up participating in that low vibrational cycle and mirror that negative energy. I'd bring down myself and those around me. If I'm vibrating at a higher frequency and refuse that ugly cycle, I can set a new path forward. And it's in that new path of love where others will resonate with my energy and elevate theirs to match. And then what happens? My enlightening and personal evolution moves forward, and I'll be contributing in helping raise the collective consciousness simply by raising my own. So do this with me. Raise your consciousness with me. Love others, even when it's difficult to. You know, after 5 long years, I'm happy to say that I've reconciled with my family because I want more. I'm doing the work and fulfilling my soul's purpose in transmuting these karmic cycles. With sincere love, I want to do my part to help raise the collective consciousness. And if you've been watching this long, then maybe you do too. So hit subscribe, follow along, join me in this journey, help me build this community. My name is Peyton, and I help people lead with love so that we can recognize our oneness and raise our consciousness.